Welcome back, Truth Seeker. I want to share a couple of comments written in recent weeks. These comments expressed, they've been stated before, and I think a lot of people deal with these same types of issues that are communicated here. So that's why I want to read them for all the people who can identify and relate. Matthew Henderson, he writes, "Hey Zachary, this is an unrelated question to the specific article, but it concerns Gematria. So I found your channel months ago, and I think it's one of the most insightful sites on YouTube and the internet combined. I've tried to reach out to my family and tell them this about all the symbolism and how news is programmed, and actors, athletes, musicians, other important figures, and even their own loved ones are ritually sacrificed, certain people at certain times, certain days, according to the numerology, as this article points out. Their response: this is trusting in numbers and symbolism. It's satanic and goes against the teachings of Jesus. My response: but that's exactly my point. This is satanic, and there is symbolism in every major news story they publish, and every sports game is rigged by the numbers. Don't you see? Ephesians 5:11. Take no part in the fruitful work of darkness, but instead expose them. Simply using methods that evil uses to stop evil does not make someone evil. Think about it this way. This is my example I give them. Suppose you're a detective on the trail of a serial killer. You've been hunting him for days, and after analyzing thoroughly, you realize his pattern is killing by using prime numbers. For example, he struck houses where the last two digits end in prime numbers: 8213, 8217, 8219, 8223. And there you would deduce that he will hit house 8229 next. So like I said, after analyzing, you come to the realization that he'll strike 8229 next Tuesday at 7:17. Date and time is arbitrary. You get there super early, make sure the family is safe, fill the house with cops, set a trap, wait for him to come in and catch him. Honestly, just to chime in here, I wouldn't fill the house with the cops. They're oftentimes the ones murdering people by the numbers. Anyway, long-winded post, I apologize, but you caught that certain criminal because you analyzed numbers and knew what to look for. You put yourself in the shoes of the serial killer and analyzed his movements and predicted his outcomes. Same thing with Gematria. You, Zachary, are not using it to be a part of this satanic Zionist agenda. You're doing it to expose this satanic Zionist agenda. You're not doing it for personal gain or fame, but rather to inform people, to wake them up. The absence of ignorance is intelligence. Likewise, the absence of intelligence is ignorance, and I suppose stupidity too. But so many people are ignorant of what's going on around them. And when I tell fellow Christians about this, they say I'm delusional, confused, and stupid, among other things. Some Christians, huh? My main question to you after all this is this: what would you say in response to Christians who think that using Gematria is the work of the devil and playing God, and this is not in line with God's plan for us and a major sin? I know you made a video talking about dealing with critics of Gematria and how you might lose family and friends because of it, because of exposing the truth that others can't see or don't want to see. But again, to a certain Christian audience who thinks this work is a sin, what would you say in response to them, because besides showing them Gematria? Well, honestly, I think you said it all by quoting the verse, take no part in the fruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. And that's exactly what we're doing. And if somebody can't grasp that, it's a reflection of their level of intelligence or lack of intelligence. And sadly, Matthew, we live in a world of people who lack intelligence. They lack critical thinking. They're chemically dumbed down. They're brainwashed. They've gone to church and let the ministers and pastors fill their heads with nonsense. I was raised a Christian too, but I left the church as a child because I just realized the people around me weren't good people. The messages weren't good. I just stuck to the golden rule. and learn to think for myself and question authority. And sadly, not enough people do that or have the ability to do that. So I would stick with that verse. You know, you've explained it all clearly here. I don't know if I could even put it any better than you have. And for the critics, you could show them how many times I've pointed out the dates to look out for and how often they hit. I mean, how else could I be correct so often? So, great comment there. And Matthew's going through what a lot of us are going through. So here's another comment. Hey, Zach, I apologize for my continuous comment spamming, but please be careful with all the phone calls you made yesterday. He's new to the channel. He doesn't know I've been making a lot of phone calls since 2014. A detective from the DC police called my house yesterday and told me to stop my repeated calls to the police chief, Peter Newsham, attempting to speak with him about my theory regarding Black Restaurant Week. So, you see, there's the difference right there. I don't call the people that I call repeatedly. You know, the most I'll ever call anybody is 2 times. And with this nation that we live in, if you call somebody repeatedly, it can become a legal matter and then it can go down as harassment. So you got to be mindful of the law and you got to work within the confines of the law that we're all bound to. So do not call people repeatedly. This is a way you can get yourself in trouble. But let's continue. She said if I call one more time, the police would take me away to a mental health facility to be evaluated due to my repeated calls being viewed as a form of harassment, and they would assume I have some form of mental illness. I simply told her, well, the chief doesn't like being harassed. I don't like being ignored, not when I have crucial information that should be known. I told her to check out the date when he was appointed police chief, February 23rd, like 223. Reverse of the Freemason 322. Well, it's not even reverse. Masonic is 223. Skull and Bones is 322. But Masonic's 223. The Synagogue of Satan's 223. Big number there with Freemasonry and the police. So me calling them, trying to tell them all this truth is regarded as harassment. But them threatening to throw me in an insane asylum if I call one more time isn't? Well, that's all you need to know right there about the federal government, police, and logic. The detective even called my grandma and told her the same thing. My grandma asked her, well, what if he's right about this? And the detective said, we will just have to live with it. How can they say that? They'll just have to live with the fact that people are going to die and more race wars are going to happen because of it? What kind of evil, sinister, malicious comment is that? Now, my family is turning on me due to my numerology shit, but I've told them all this is the truth. However, they said I might be labeled as a terrorist now due to all the specific information I've provided. Also, the police said I'm not a credible source, meaning if the FBI or DHS told them this information, they'd say, thank you very much for this information, but because I'm just an ordinary citizen, they're viewing me as a threat. I really wanted to go off on them and tell them if they had one speck of integrity, they would do the right and honorable thing and stop this from happening. I just got to say, I'm just going to stop right here and respond. I mean, you have to realize that if you're telling the enemy to stop what they're doing, they're not going to stop, you know. When I call and make my recordings, the point of me doing that is to, you know, expose how the government doesn't care and they're not here for the people. I'm not calling thinking that they're going to listen to me and stop doing what they're doing. You know, I'm doing what I do and recording it and making videos about it to expose the reality of our government. So if you're calling, you know, the enemy and expecting them to come around to being exposed, then you've set yourself up for failure. So you got to be realistic in what you expect out of these phone calls. Okay, moving on with what he's written. I really hate this world, Zach. I'm tired of all the corruption, injustice, and evil. My spirit feels absolutely broken. Being a truth seeker is one hell of an endeavor, and there's more dark days than good days. But I promise you and all the other truth seekers this. I will endure to the end. I will speak the truth no matter what. I will fight the good fight. With all that being said, can I humbly ask you to please make a video about this post as well as my other post you put on your blog about using Gematria to expose evil? Maybe you could do them both as one single video, please, just so I can get some advice on what to do next and how to convince my family this is the right path. So, yes, you got your wish. This is that video, and both your comments are very well thought out and they deserve to be shared. And with regards to feeling like your spirit's broken, pretty much everybody who speaks and seeks truth's been there, if they're not there right now. And, honestly, my spirit's probably broken too, but I'm just so used to having it broken that it just feels normal now. Because this is exactly what I went through as an 18-year-old after September 11th. And, it's what changed the course of my life. I had new priorities, I had new goals. And it took all that to make this happen today. And like they say, good things don't come easy. So, this life, it requires pain and suffering oftentimes to get to where you want to be. And all of us who want to change this, it's a big endeavor. And it sounds like you got the right spirit because you wrote, I will speak the truth no matter what. I will fight the good fight. And I will endure to the end. And that's exactly what you're going to have to do. And the other thing to maintain your sanity is you have to be prepared to say, well, I might not even live to see the goal that I want to achieve in my lifetime. It might just be nothing but hardship. But consider you're planting seeds and, sometimes it takes centuries for the forest to grow, if that makes sense. So the work's spreading, more and more people are speaking out and calling. What I would advise you is to be more strategic. I don't think calling the police station and predicting this restaurant week tragedy is very smart, honestly. I think it's better to call and expose when they do the things that they do by the numbers, like calling the police department where they're blaming the Rite Aid shooting on Snowchia Mosley and the first victim, Sunday Aguda. That's something you can call them out on. Calling and saying, look, I know this code, and I think Restaurant Week, there's going to be this terrible incident to spark the race war. No one's going to respond to that. You got to be realistic about that. You have to see that. So be more strategic in what you're doing. Also, by making this big prediction and calling repeatedly and alerting your family to this, what's going to happen is if you're wrong about this, then they're really all going to discredit you and they're not going to listen. You got to be more strategic, again, the word, in how you go about sharing this knowledge. And oftentimes it's better just to expose what's done day by day. So, which is mostly what I do. I mean, if you break down my work, it's 90% exposing what's in the media. It's probably more than 90%. And it's 10% or less predicting. And I didn't start making predictions until I was really aware of just how redundant certain patterns are and the dates that come up for frequent shootings and how they correspond with certain calendars. So, it's obvious you're a wise person, so be wise in how you go about sharing this information with your friends and family. And, you might very well be right about Restaurant Week, but again, if you're not, it's just going to cause more stress and more people to discredit you. Also, I want to get one more point in here. Man out here named Tom, he recently picked up my book, and he made a long video reading from the book and sharing from the book. And in the video, he's like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be doing this. And it's perfectly fine. And I really actually do appreciate it. If you want to make videos reading from my book online, that would be cool. And I was just thinking, like, if, 20-some different people each read a chapter, well, some of those chapters take a long time to read, but, if 20-some people read a chapter, each did a chapter, the whole book could be out there in audio form. And I don't mind, honestly. I put out this knowledge to get it out there. I do need to make some revenue off it at this point. Again, because I've done this for 5 years for free and used up all my savings to do it. So I do appreciate people buying the book. Again, it's priced at $5 because I want everyone to be able to afford it. I'm getting a lot of scrutiny from a lot of people who are continuing to tell me that it's too cheap, and if it was priced higher, it would sell better, because people look at a book for $5 and they assume it just must be, bargain bin trash material. I have this doctor in my ear about it at least 2 times a week. He recently came across my work and really likes it, but he says, honestly, I don't even want to read the book because it's just $5. He said if it was $20, then I'd feel like it was worth something. But at the same time, I'm also getting comments from people who are grateful that the book's priced at just $5 because they have low income, or they're elderly, and again, low income, or they don't have a job, period, and they're able to scrape together $5 to get the book. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is maybe make 2 tiers, or maybe even 3 tiers of the same book at different prices. People can pay at the level they want, the $5 level, the $10 level, the $20 level. It might be an interesting social experiment to see how many people would pay 10 or 20 when they can get the same thing at 5. But anyway, yes, you are welcome to read the book online and make videos about it. You're welcome to share the book with your friends and family. If you do share it with your friends and family, I'd appreciate if you said, hey, check this out, and if you really like it, it would be good to make a $5 donation for the purchase price through his Etsy page, because if he can get his sales numbers up, he can get a publisher more enticed to publish the book, so we can get it in paper and hard copy form instead of just ebook form. Again, I had a publisher. They backed out on me. I have not been able to get anyone to publish it yet. And if there's a big stack of sales there at Etsy, because on Etsy it shows you how many copies the book sold. Just in case you haven't seen the website where the book's at. When you go to this page where the reviews are, it says the total sales. So we're at 2,825. And I thought it would do a lot better than that, honestly. I mean, it's still selling, but it's been out since March, and it's kind of underwhelming, So if it continues to underwhelm, I will have to raise the price and try out that strategy. Perhaps all my critics or the people who are giving me that feedback are correct. But everyone who's read this book's really happy. There's 42 reviews. Every single one of them's positive. Some people don't write anything. Here's Steve just days ago. He wrote, Zach, I got your book yesterday and read the first 40 pages last night. I don't know what to say. I've been researching this for a long time and spending a lot of money on hard-to-find Freemason books, Three Initiates, etc., books on Kabbalah, ancient rune and rune magic. God knows how much information on Gematria, but I must say, from what I've read in this book so far, Letters and Numbers has very clearly and concisely explained everything, almost step by step, in a neat little package. No beating around the bush, right to the point. Cannot thank you enough. And, you can come here and read the reviews. You just got to click the view all 42 reviews. It's funny it's at 42 right now. Whoever leaves the 43rd review, the word book equals 43. Who wants to leave the 43rd review? But, lots of positive reviews. So you can come here and read and see what people are saying. Guess you got to scroll pages. You can't just scroll down the whole thing. So anyway, buy it, share it, make videos about it, read it online, do live streams. It's all okay. And don't feel like you're alone in this world if your friends and family don't come around right away. I've seen plenty of people also comment that, hey, my friends and family are finally coming around. It just took them like 6 months or a year of observing. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Until next time.